of the one reality, which manifests as life, light, and love. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom, O hidden light, shining in every creature, O hidden love, embracing all in oneness, may each who feels himself as one with thee know he is also one with every other. So thank you all and welcome back. Today we have with us Brother Shikhar Agnihotri from Adyar, who will be directing the study of chronological letters 91 and 92. Brother Shikharji, he is the international speaker of the Theosophical Society and he's the national lecturer of the Indian section. Shikharji joined the Theosophical Society in 2008, influenced by his mother, Srimati Vasumati Agnihotri, who herself is a veteran and active member since the early 1980s. Brother Shikharji holds a bachelor's degree of science in nautical science from Mumbai University, and he made a career for himself in the shipping industry. Having voluntarily retired after 10 years of service, he has wholeheartedly devoted himself to the cause of Theosophy. And his depth of theosophical knowledge and sincerity in humble service has earned him the love and respect of all those who know him, myself included. And as an active member of Theosophy, he has conducted numerous study camps, seminars for youth, public lectures in lodges across India, and also in schools, colleges, and internationally. His articles have been published in eminent theosophical magazines in India and also in France and Spain. He is a founder member of the Pragya Lodge in Lucknow and the Maitri TOS group in Lucknow. He lives and works in Adyar along with his spouse Catalina, who is equally dedicated to the TS, and their lovely daughter Yuna. And together they have started a YouTube channel, Pragya Studio, which is instrumental in propagation of Theosophy. So with such a multifaceted personality, I welcome Brother Shikharji and I request him to begin the study session now.
Thank you so much, Vibhaji, and namaste. Greetings to all the delegates present in today's session. And I would like to start with I know the invocation has already been done, but I would like to invoke that Guru principle also for me that I feel, especially while reading the Mahatma letters. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namaste once again, everyone. And today, as you know, today is the first part of the letters, chronological letter number 91 and 92. And the whole series of Mahatma letters the study has been undertaken by the Indian section under the guidance of Brother Mahapatraji. So thank you right from the beginning to give me this opportunity. And this letter number 91 is a very short letter of 1 page, but letter number 92 is quite long. And so today we'll start with letter number 91, going over to 92. But the remaining part we'll be taking up in the upcoming sessions, maybe 2 more sessions, most likely after today. And the thing is, both these letters, 91 and 92, were received in October 1882. And 1882 is, if you remember, is also the year when the founders reached Adyar, and they purchased the Adyar property for the first time when H.P. Blavatsky and Colonel Olcott were visiting. First, they came to Bombay, but from America, but later on, they were still searching for the place, and they came to Adyar, and then HPB says that master wants this place purchased. So around that time, uh, but uh, during this time, Senate, AP Senate, for whom this letter was there, he was still in Shimla, because those who have been studying the letters know that there is also an eclectic theosophical society which was founded in Shimla. And this letter number 91 is written on 3 different sheets of paper. And basically, there are 3 different separate notes. And together, all these 3 notes form the letter number 91. And during this time, HPB was taken to Darjeeling. She was resting in Darjeeling because she was taken there due to her serious illness by Master M, as will be mentioned, as we'll read more about it a little later. And these letters are also one of the few letters in the whole collection where we find the mention of those occasions when the master has sent money along with the letter. And I know one Mr. R.K. Singh, Ram Kumar Singh, who is currently in US, living in US. He has researched all these letters, and he has made a list of all those letters and occasions where the masters have sent some money along with the letters. So that is a different, interesting topic, just for if somebody wants to research it. Overall, if we see, the letter number 91 is a very short one. Letter 92 is quite long. And as such, if we start, we will feel that they do not contain much of technical theosophical principles, as in some of the other letters where they talk about the races, the rounds, and esoteric principles. But if we read them with the mind that it's not only in the technical theosophical principles or esoteric principle that that theosophy is, but theosophy is also in very small, simple, day-to-day dealings of ours with the other people, and how in these letters, even through different situations, maybe not any big uh, secret or talk is given, but how to deal with a person and how to be observant and be aware of people's behavior, their nature and character, and to plan based on that. So also there will be some insights if we read along those lines. The complex working of the sevenfold human constitution, because we read the seven, that there are 7 principles and 7 bodies in human being, but there are so many instances that are mentioned which are beyond our conception, that how can such a complex thing happens. Like it was said that HPB's one of the principles was kept in the monastery, and that's why that was the reason for her eccentric behavior. But for us, it's very difficult to imagine how can that happen. But there must be some science behind it. So similarly, there is a small mention of that here. Also, the imprudence. Being a theosophist, it is expected that in any situation that we deal, we, being a theosophist, and of course, from anybody who does not want to make unnecessarily create mistakes and their consequences, but sometimes due to our over enthusiasm, or maybe a habit of talking too much, or something else, we behave in an imprudent manner, that we'll also see. Also, dealing with people of different characters. How? Because whether it is theosophical society, whether it is our job, whether it is our colleagues, neighbors, or any other our circles, we are continuously meeting with people, and everybody has their own behavior and character, and we need to be, again, not looking with the lens of like doubt or suspicion, but if we are aware and if we are observant, several of the unnecessary things or challenges or obstacles can be avoided. Also, we will see the workings of the master and the disciple relationship, that how a person who is an probationary chela or accepted chela, what is master is expecting of him, and how, or her, and how that disciple should work or behave. Also, the eligibility, that we think, or that we know something, and it's good that we share with as many people as possible. But there has been a mention, even in, I think, in every scripture, whether religious or spiritual scripture, that we should also look for the eligibility of the person before sharing something of an esoteric nature or such things. Otherwise, those things either will be ignored, or maybe even worse, they can be misused. And a very, very important question, the answers to which people are looking for, that why don't masters contact anyone currently, or why did they stop contacting people? I found that there is a hint of that also in this letter. Or are the masters sending any more letters to anyone? Or, you know, people ask all those questions, that why not now? So all these things I found in my reading, so I'll be sharing as we go along within the limits of the time allotted. And a very important thing along with this guru master disciple relationship, a very important point to remember, that a disciple, whether accepted or a lay disciple, probationary, cannot hide anything from the master, and we'll see how. So coming to that, when this letter was received, HPB, as the master say, that she was in Darjeeling, and because she was of her serious illness, she was taken by the Master M in Darjeeling, and now she was getting better, and the master is saying that they have left her near Darjeeling, but still she's not safe in there, in Sikkim, and the Dukpa opposition is tremendous, and unless we pay our full energies to her, she will the old lady, that is Blavatsky, would come to grief, since she is now unable to take care of herself. I mean, that she has given so much of herself that on her own, maybe she is too weak to face all these things. So that's why they are saying that you ought to take her in for October and November. So basically, that must be the time that she would be coming back very soon. So that was the stage. Now this letter starts to APCNet with an instruction to give rupees 50 to Darbhagiri Nath. Now, who is this person, Darbhagiri Nath? As the letter says, that the letter begins with a reference to a disciple, Darbhagiri Nath. probably Babaji. There is another, now we have Darbagirinath and another character, Babaji, as this was about the time he had lent his body for the use of Tibetan Chela Gwala Ke Dev, another third person who used the mystical name Darbagirinath. So basically, to make it clear that there is an accepted disciple by the Tibetan disciple by the name of G.K. Dev, Gwala Ke Dev, and who used a mystical name for himself, Darbagirinath. But for certain reasons during that period, maybe his physical body was not available, or in some other locations he needed to work, and he was using the body of one of the probationary disciple by the name of Babaji. So now, can we imagine that the thing is that what happened was, to whom master is addressing is to Dev, who is acting through the body of Babaji. And this is a strange blending of identity, which is very difficult to comprehend. Now, with our study and readings of this constitution of a human principles and bodies, yes, there have been instances in the past that we read in the scriptures also, that parkaya pravesh, which is called to enter into the body of somebody else, but it is a very deep uh, science, I would say esoteric science or occult science, which maybe only later at some we can talk about it theoretically, but to understand the workings of it may take quite some time. So basically he is saying to AP Senate that you give about 50 rupees to this Darbagirinath because he is in trouble, and also to help him, but also he has to be remonstrated, means he has to be taught a lesson. And why the lesson? That what happened that during his traveling, this Darbagirinath from place called Ghum to Bengal, through his again imprudence and indiscretion, he lost money. And till now it is okay. As we will see later, Master says losing money is okay due to imprudence and indiscretion. He lost money. Okay, it's mistake, but okay, not such a big mistake. But what he did next, that is trying to avoid to bring that this will come to the notice of the master, instead of addressing himself directly to the master, he tried to dodge the master's eye, as it is said in the letter, and called upon another disciple, like a friend, a probation, who is a probationary disciple, Mr. Ram S. Gargya, and asking help from him by writing a letter to or telegram to this probationary disciple. Now, this step taken by him is very, in the eyes of the master, is much worse than losing the money, because he says he has no right or not of a slightest claim to ask help from a fellow probationary disciple on whom he has no claim to get him out of his difficulty. And so that is what, and what happened? The telegram that he wrote asking for help from this probationary disciple, instead of reaching to him, he never received this telegram. Instead, it came into the hands of a lama, and that lama notified the master about it. And so now, by giving money from AP Senate, who is a lay disciple, and the category is lay disciple, probationary disciple, accepted disciple. So basically, if an accepted disciple is considered okay in a, there is no hierarchy in that sense, but just to understanding that is more, it's much more nearer to the master, in a way senior to the lay disciple, and getting a proof. And what master says that best punishment for an accepted disciple is to receive proof from a lay disciple that you did something wrong. So that way he will realize his mistake. And so that's what this is the first part that Master is saying. And he's again saying money losses are nothing, but the results involved and the temptation that are there are terrible. Results involved means if he has lost money and it is for some work, then of course that work will suffer, and the temptation to dodge it, to to do not let the master know and try to bypass the system and try to get some help from somewhere else, the temptation to own the mistake, to somehow avoid the consequence of our mistake, are very big, great. Those are the important things. And in the same light, he writes to AP Senate also that you too have been imprudent. And when he's saying imprudent to AP Senate, it is in reference to one Colonel Chesney. What happened that Senate had been trying to interest him, Mr. Colonel Chesney, to become a member of the Theosophical Society. And I think we can see sometimes in AP Senate ourselves that we are also sometimes so enthusiastic that, we somehow, if we meet someone new, we want to tell them about theosophy and uh, maybe give them a book or something, or sometimes we overdo some things. And instead of getting the desired result, that the person getting interested in theosophy or theosophical society sometime, or it can happen to actually this to anyone in anything, in any part aspect of life, that with our too much trying to persuade or convince, we actually put the person away. And that's what happened to Colonel Chesney when AP Senate was trying too hard to interest him in Theosophical Society, and had even gone to the extent of asking the Mahatma to send him a portrait of himself for him. And at any rate, it seems that AP Senate bungled the matter, and the colonel at some point of time must have taken offense, which comes later also, the offense also that he was talking to him. But when the letter, in the Theosophist, uh, some articles were published, so Colonel Chesney thought that Theosophy was anti-Christian and Theosophy was hostile only to Christianity. And that is something very unfortunate that I have seen with Theosophical Society, that one religion thinks that it is against it, and the another religion thinks that it is against that. So we end up trying to explain to everybody that no, actually it's not against anything. It is actually the synthesis of everything. That when you read, when we approach the religion with in the light of theosophy, a person of that religion becomes much more better follower of that person. And similarly, there is another mention of again AP Senate's. You see, in these mentionings, we find that we think an action done by us, a small decision taken by us, is very innocent. But from the master's eye, even that decision is not, it does not go by without an inspection. And it so happened that there was a discriminative thought in the mind of AP Senate, due to which he refused printing an article by one person, Mr. Aterji Sahibji, whose article was rejected earlier, but only later when it got printed in a very big magazine, Vanity Fair, then only AP Senate agreed to print in his newspaper Pioneer. And the master says that you distrusted a native, and now his articles are accepted in Vanity Fair, so that's why you have accepted it. And another mention also of Colonel, no, Mr. A.O. Hume, who wanted his article to be published in the Theosophist, but since it had a political tone, so HPB could not do it, because because we all know that Theosophical Society as an organization does not have a political bent, although its members individually may have their preferences or likes or dislikes or whatever, but as an organization it does not have. And the third note again is about some money, in which it seems that again the same disciple Darbagiri Nath borrowed 30 rupees from AP Senate, and which were written by the master in this letter. And he says that this little wretch, I mean Darbagiri Nath, forced me to blush before you on account of his indiscretion. And it is but today that I learned of his borrowing from you rupees 30 through Jwalkul. He had no business and no right to do so, but you must pardon him, for he has not the least conception of a difference between a Tibetan and a European disciple. So I send you back with thanks the money lent, hoping you will not take us all for savages. So those were the three notes which composed the letter 91. But even in those notes, as we saw, there was, I mean, a treasure of uh, hints and our approach to daily life and how all these things work between the master and disciple, and what if we have committed a mistake, then we should own that too and not try to avoid it. Coming to letter number 92, it actually, the opening paragraph of it concerns Mr. Hume's resignation as the president of the Shimla Eclectic Theosophical Society. And the master expresses it as one of the most agreeable events of the season. As he says, the deposition and abdication of our great I am, because I am means they thought of Mr. Hume as that he thinks only of himself and nothing beyond himself. So is one of the most agreeable events of the season for your humble servant, for himself. And although he says that it happened because all these things, although he says that it is due to him, the master, that all these things turn out like that, he had to resign. But basically, we can see that ultimately, any such thing is of our own doing. And although he has resigned from as the president of the eclectic, still master says that some good has come of it while him being the president. And what good has come of it is in the shape of excellent literary work. We have studied the Mahatma letters, so we know that A.O. Hume and AP Sinnett both jointly were writing the fragments of the occult truth, the articles which were published in the Theosophist and the Pioneer. So Master is saying that some good has come out of it in the shape of excellent literary work. In the bracket he writes, though indeed I prefer your style, that is Sinnett's style, than A.O. Hume. So in a way, it is good for the parent body of the Theosophical Society, but not so good for the Shimla Eclectic Theosophical Society, because A.O. Hume never did anything good for the Shimla Eclectic Theosophical Society, and in fact he was complaining that he had actually nearly converted Colonel Chesney to Theosophy with his incessant efforts. But when the articles in the Theosophist were printed, which had anti-Christian spirit, those articles threw Colonel Chesney back. So this is a complete, master says that this is a complete lie, but actually why he is doing all these, why he is spreading all these lies because you will find him entirely under the influence of his new guru, who is a good Vedantic Swami. And this is the Swami from a place called Almora, which is near Nainital in the foothills of the Himalayas. And he had written some articles on Advaitism, with which T. Subbarao had disagreed very strongly. So that Swami has been the influencer for A.O. Hume, and due to him, under his influence, he has been behaving like this. And what a contradiction that he, being the Advaitin philosophy, follower of Advaitin philosophy, who offers to teach A.O. Hume the Advaita philosophy, which we all know Advaita means non-duality, non-dualism, as also we study in theosophy. But he offers to teach this Advaita philosophy with a God in it by way of improvement, like with a personal God, which uh, which cannot be a part of an Advaita philosophy, because if there is a personal God out there who we think as creator, then definitely there is a gap, a valley between these two, us and the as humans and the God, which can never be bridged. And if it can be bridged, and not if, that it can be bridged as we study, and that is the whole philosophy of Advaita. So you see, sometimes when we are, this gives us a very uh, good hint in our daily life, that when we are under prejudices, either in favor of or against somebody, we become blind to whatever is the reality. Even our common sense takes a backseat. And I think it happens to maybe everyone so many times, that if we are biased towards someone for good, then we tend to, we justify even the wrong behavior. And if we are against somebody, prejudiced against somebody, we even tend to criticize even the good behavior from them. So that is why he has been doing all this. And why he feels like that, why A.O. Hume feels like that, because his argument is that he will learn something from the good old Swami, while with us, the masters, it is impossible for him to ever learn anything. So why he has been saying that? Because he has been again and again asking the masters that, you know, why are you using HPB as the medium? You should use me and APCNet. You should teach us, give us lessons directly, and then we will teach the other people. But of course, right from the beginning, if we read the letters in the beginning, you will find that masters have predicted this outcome long back, that this is going to happen. And now, as a part of history, we read that it happened. So basically, A.O. Hume was in a kind of a denial mode and not willing to accept the fact, and instead of that, spreading doubts about the masters, because he says that I don't, even after receiving so many letters, I don't know anything about you, and you can be anyone. I mean, and you do not give the teachings on our condition as what we want. We are telling you that people would like this and that, but you are telling your own philosophy. So basically, he was in a denial mode, and he's preparing to plunge from extreme Advaitism, which is theosophy, to transcendental theism. That is, following a God, a personal God, uh, instead of realizing that oneness of life. But even in this situation, now this is a very, very practical suggestion or solution to many of our situations in life. I think we all come across people whom we may have conflict with whom we do not agree or they do not agree with us. But still, Master does not want him, A.O. Hume, to sever connection with the Theosophical Society. And although he resigned as the president of the Eclectic Theosophical Society, but still they basically do not want him to make an enemy out of him. Why? Because first, for his own intrinsic literary worth, because yes, he was a very intellectual person and he could write very good and he contributed in whatever way, although many of those articles that he wrote had to be corrected by the masters a lot, but still that. And the another thing, he is an indefatigable, though a secret enemy. The word indefatigable means sometimes everything, which keeps going on and on, we get fatigued. But he's using the word that he will never get fatigued and will act as a secret enemy, and who will spend his time in writing out until his ink gets dry against theosophy, denouncing all and everyone in the society to all and everyone outside of it. And is there any parallel of this? I think one parallel of this I remember that in Ramayana, the epic Ramayana by Tulsidas, that before writing Ramayana, when he is asking the blessings of all the gods and everything, he is also asking the blessings of those who create obstacles and those who may not be well-wishers, who may be, having some other designs to sabotage the project. So that is, I think, I would not call it a diplomatic way, because when we call it diplomatic, it means it is a superficial thing that you are just doing something to please someone. But no, when you think that you really want good for something, you do not want any kind of obstacle or any kind of unnecessary things to stop the good work. So even if for that you have to, you know, go and take blessing of someone whom you do not like, it's okay. Because at least with your good heart, you are doing that. Later on, whatever the person wants to do, they will do. But at least you have done something differently, and possibility, like facing the negativity with positivity. Because if there is anger, there is more anger, and both the sides, the anger gets multiplied. So the anger can only be reduced or faced with calmness or equanimity, then only it becomes nullified. So why he's saying that about A.O. Hume is because he does not forgive and never forgets. And although he says like that he forgives or he forgot about what happened earlier, but he keeps storing all those informations and things and incidences, and later on when the time comes, he uses them all to make his case and is spreading out lies and doubts and suspicions in the minds of people outside the TS, about the TS. And then the master comes to this point that how pleasant news it is that how unanimously and quietly AP Senate was elected president of the Shimla Eclectic Theosophical Society. And at the same time, you see, all these are like lessons in management, I would say, that we have so many corporates going on, and It's like we have in Mahatma letters is, I feel sometimes they have they are the treasure house of all kinds of knowledge. So master is giving one word of advice from both of us. He's saying to Epicene, trust not Fern, one of the gentlemen. Beware of him. If you do not watch him closely, he will mix the cards for you in a way that may lead the society to ruin, because he took a great oath to himself that the society will either fall or rise with himself. So that is also something that either my way or highway. I mean, if okay, it means it's not just the society's work that is the priority for him, but basically, it's not only the good work, the priority is not that doing the good work is the priority, but I am doing the good work. So that is the most important thing for the person. So if the person doesn't rise or falls, so he or she, that the attitude of such a person is to take down also the project along with him, so that okay, if I am going down, the whole project should go down. So that's what he is giving the advice to Epicene, that if he fails next year again, he will do his best to pull down the society with him. Try to see, and even then, he's not saying that keep an eye and just ignore him or be tough to him or something. What he's saying, Master is suggesting to Epicene, try to save him if possible. Do your best to convert him to truth and unselfishness. That instead of thinking of oneself, think of the cause. And that is the best help that you can give to him, because it is a real pity that such gifts, because Fern and there were several others will come later, that they have people with so many gifts, whether it is extrasensory powers or being sensitives or being having a mystic nature. They are such gifts, and it is a pity that these gifts should be drowned in a more of a vice, which is so strongly engrafted upon him by his early tutors. I mean, with whoever he was earlier, he was taught by, they have put him on him so strongly all those things that the good gifts will go into a negative direction. And also, they say that meanwhile, do not ever allow him to see any of my letters, because again, he can misuse all those letters. And then I know, I think the time I maybe have maybe 5 more minutes, and then I will, I think, about to end. Yeah. So that is about Fern. And then Master comes to about C.C. Messi, another British theosophist, C.C. Messi. There was an exchange between A.P. Sinnett and C.C. Messi, and he writes again. And I think we can relate to all these people in one way or the other when we compare our lives. And he says that he is doubtless a more sincere, truthful, and a more noble-minded man that could hardly be found among the British theosophists. But his only and chief fault is weakness of the character, we can say. Weakness and also getting influenced by things so easily. Because if he realized that how deeply he has wronged HPB in thought, no man would be more miserable over it than himself. Why? Because based on certain things, based on certain proofs or certain situations and of his prejudices against H.P. Blavatsky, he did thought a lot of negative things. So if he realizes what he has done, he would be miserable. And what happened to British Theosophical Society? Because now C.C. Messi is coming around again along with A.P. Sinnett. So British Theosophical Society basically masters cut off all the arrangements with British Theosophical Society because it had collapsed and virtually was no more. But also in his letter, Master had written that if they re-established it on a firm basis with such members like Mrs. K, I assume it is Mrs. Kingsford, and her scribe, we would have no objection to teach them through you, that is through AP Synod, or words to that effect. I certainly objected having my letters printed and circulated like those for the benefit of isolated members who believed in our existence. So basically, what the master is saying that if they, for isolated members here and there who do not even believe in the existence of master, so it's no point. But if they reestablish themselves, they reorganize and form a group, then he is willing to do that because he says, I will never refuse my help and cooperation to a group of people sincere and ardent to learn. But if again such men like Hume are to be admitted, then the plan had better be left aside. This is in relation to one another very strong bigot person, Mr. Wilde. The master is telling him, telling AP Synod, you make all arrangements, but leave him, ignore him, do not include him in this, because again, he will create certain problems like Hume did. So, because earlier he refused to admit some people in in the Theosophical Society, or a couple of people who were actually could have been admitted, but he didn't. And same thing, he's saying that people like Hume are to be avoided to be admitted, or rather, you just stop the plan because these people generally delight in playing every organized system that they get into. And now he gives the reason because A.O. Hume was saying, suggesting to the master that the people will not accept the whole truth unless we humor them with a hope that there may be a loving Father and Creator of all in heaven, which the other Swami, Advaitin Swami, was promising him. Advaita with a personalized God, which is, quite a contradiction in itself. And he says, if you do not do that, your philosophy will be rejected in the first place. But the master says, the less such idiots hear our doctrines, the better for both. Here comes the question of eligibility, the patrata. Why? Because master says, if they do not want the whole truth and nothing but the truth, they are welcome. But never will they find us compromising with and pandering to public prejudices. Do you call this candid and honest? So basically, there is no compromise when there is truth to be shared, or at least a direction to it. And that's what happens if we share it with a person who is not eligible, at least to our senses. That person may completely ignore it, reject it, or even oppose it, or even misuse it. And then the master says that the truth is that notwithstanding the great tidal wave of mysticism that is now sweeping over a portion of intellectual classes of Europe, the Western people have as yet scarcely leaned to recognize that which we term wisdom in its loftiest sense. Because the concept of wisdom, normally when we say a person is very wise, the normal sense especially in those times were that a person who can most cleverly conduct the business of life, the person who has the largest amount of money or material profit or honors or fame or popularity is a wise person. But he says the quality of wisdom, real wisdom, which they term wisdom, ever was and will be yet for a long time, to the very close of the fifth race, denied to him who seeks the wealth of the mind for its own sake and for its own enjoyment, and result without the secondary purpose of turning it to account in the attainment of material benefit. So basically, what they are saying that the unlocking of the gateway, the portal of wisdom, will it will not be accessible by a person, such a person who is still interested in the material gains and material wealth. Only those who are trying to go beyond it will get this wisdom, the key to wisdom. And that is why he says that most of your gold worshipping country people will say that our facts and theorems would be are the fancy lights and the dreams of madmen. And that's what happened also, that such things, when sometimes you discuss with people, even the law of karma or rebirth, when you discuss with people, many people's, they say all this may be very profound and learned, but of what use it is in our practical life? And they will dismiss these letters and fragments from their thoughts forever. So, and in the last slide, at least, I think I'll not go beyond, and the time is almost there, that he says that now CC Messi seems changing and you are gradually bringing him around. And he really wants to give occultism another trial and open to conviction, and we must not disappoint him. But, and this is that answer that I feel is that people say why the masters do not contact again or the letters are not coming again. He says, I cannot undertake to furnish either them or even yourself with new facts until I have already what I have already given is put into shape from the beginning and taught to them systematically, and by them learned and digested. I am now answering your numerous series of questions, scientific and psychological, and you will have material enough for a year or two, but I positively refuse to teach any further before you have understood and learned all that is already given. So if we think if we have learned all that has been already given, then I think there will not be any more need to ask this question that why there are no more letters or why the masters are not teaching or sending any notes to person or not contacting. Before that, that question is not needed at all, as we see in this comment by the master, that until we have assimilated, understood, lived all those things, the secret doctrine or even everything, until then there will be no more communication in that sense, or no more knowledge of wisdom can be given. So with this, I give my rest. I'm sorry I took a little bit more time.
No, not at all, Shikharji. Thank you very much for sharing your deep insight about these letters. And they deal with a lot of interpersonal relation and also the behavior of the members and the chelas in their, which may seem insignificant to them, but are very profound. So thank you very much for that. And I now request Sister Meenakshi ji to give us the translation in Hindi.
नमस्ते सभी को. थैंक यू सिस्टर. थैंक यू ब्रदर शिखर जी. आज हम लेटर नंबर 91 और 92 ले रहे हैं. लेटर नंबर 91, यह पत्र मास्टर के एच एपी सीनेट को अक्टूबर 1882 में लिखते हैं. वे कहते हैं कि आप जब दर्भगिरी नाथ से भेंट करेंगे तब इस पत्र में जो 50 रुपए रखे हैं उसे देने का कष्ट करेंगे. वह मुसीबत में है, लेकिन उसे समझाना होगा, और एक स्वीकृत चेला के लिए सबसे योग्य सजा एक आम चेला के द्वारा डांटना है. घूम से बंगाल आते वक्त उसकी असावधानी और अविचारता के कारण उसने पैसे खो दिए, और सीधे मुझसे संवाद साधने के बजाय उसने मास्टर की नजर से बचने की कोशिश की और एक प्रोबेशनरी चेला को बुलाया, जिस पर उसे अपनी मुसीबत से बाहर निकालने में मदद करने का जरा भी हक नहीं था. कृपया उसे बताएं कि बर्दवान से भेजा गया उसका टेलीग्राम राम एस गर्ग्य को नहीं मिला, बल्कि वह सीधे उन लामा के हाथों में चला गया जिन्होंने मुझे उसकी सूचना दी। उसे आगे के लिए विवेकशील होने दे। युवा चेलाओं को कुछ दिनों के लिए भी नजरों से दूर रखने का खतरा अब आप देख रहे हैं। धन की हानि कोई बात नहीं है, लेकिन इसके परिणाम और प्रलोभन भयानक होते हैं। मास्टर सीनेट से कहते हैं कि मेरे मित्र, मुझे डर है कि आप भी फिर से अविवेकी हो गए हैं। मेरे पास कर्नल चेस्नी का बहुत ही शिष्टाचार युक्त और काफी कूटनीतिक पत्र है। मुझे आपसे परामर्श करना चाहिए। ह्यूम ने एचपीबी को एक पत्र लिखा है। उन्होंने एचपीबी को उन्होंने एचपीबी को 20 तारीख को छपे अपने एक पत्र की 2 सुधारित प्रतियां भेजी और कहते हैं कि अब समय आ गया है जब पूरे देश में, यहाँ की प्रेस में, यदि केवल उनके नेतृत्व में मसले को दृढ़तापूर्वक रखा जाए, तब आर्थिक सहायता दी जाएगी। उनका एचपीबी से कहना है कि आप निश्चित ही द थियोसॉफिस्ट में इसे पुनर्मुद्रित करेंगे। अपनी पत्रिका को राजनीति से जोड़े बिना वह ऐसा कैसे कर सकती है, ऐसा मास्टर कहते हैं। आगे वे कहते हैं कि एचपीबी की तबीयत अभी ठीक नहीं है, अभी ठीक है। उन्हें दार्जिलिंग के पास रखा गया है। वह सिक्किम में सुरक्षित नहीं है। डुकपा का जबरदस्त विरोध है और जब तक हम अपना पूरा समय उन्हें देखने में नहीं लगाते, तब ओल्ड लेडी यानी एचपीबी दुख से पीड़ित होगी, क्योंकि वह अब अपनी देखभाल करने में असमर्थ है। गर्भगिरी के साथ क्या हुआ वह आपको बताएगा। एचपीबी को आपको अक्टूबर और नवंबर के लिए अपने साथ ले जाना चाहिए, ऐसा मास्टर सीनेट से कहते हैं। आगे का पत्र है लेटर नंबर 92। यह पत्र मास्टर के एच एपी सीनेट को अक्टूबर 1882 में लिखते हैं। मास्टर सीनेट से कहते हैं कि अहम भावी ह्यूम का पदत्याग यानी इक्लेक्टिक सोसाइटी से पदत्याग, यह हमारे लिए इस वर्ष की सबसे उपयुक्त घटनाओं में से एक है। वे कहते हैं कि दोष मुझे दे। ह्यूम अमृत बाजार पत्रिका के शिशिर कुमार घोष को लिखे पत्र में शिकायत करते हैं कि उनके प्रयासों के कारण ही कर्नल चेस्नी का थियोसॉफी में पदार्पण हुआ है, जो थियोसॉफिस्ट के पत्रिका के क्रिश्चियन विरोधी भावना के कारण पहले उससे दूर रहे। ह्यूम पूरी तरह अपने नए गुरु के प्रभाव में है, जो कि एक वेदांतिक स्वामी है और जो अद्वैत तत्वज्ञान सिखाने का प्रयास करते हैं, ईश्वर को बेहतर रूप से सिखाने का प्रयास करते हैं। ह्यूम के तर्क से उस बूढ़े स्वामी से वह सब कुछ सीखेंगे, जबकि उन्हें हमारे साथ कुछ भी सीखना असंभव है। हालांकि मैं नहीं चाहूंगा कि वह सोसाइटी के साथ अपना नाता पूर्णतः तोड़ दे। एक तो उनके अंतर्भूत साहित्यिक गुणवत्ता के लिए, और फिर चूंकि आपको निश्चित ही गुप्त रूप से एक कट्टर शत्रु होगा, जो अपना समय थियोसॉफी के विरोध में लिखने में, सोसाइटी के सभी लोगों की निंदा करने में और खुद को हजारों तरीकों से अप्रिय बनाने में बिताएगा। ऐसा प्रतीत हो सकता है कि वह क्षमा कर देगा, लेकिन वास्तव में वह न तो क्षमा करते हैं और न ही कभी भूलते हैं। मास्टर एम और हम सभी के लिए यह एक सुखद समाचार था कि आप सर्वसम्मति और शांति से इक्लेक्टिक के प्रेसिडेंट के रूप में चुने गए। हमारे शिष्यों सहित हम मास्टर्स आपको बधाई देते हैं, ऐसा मास्टर सीनेट से कहते हैं। आगे वे सीनेट को सलाह देते हुए कहते हैं कि हम दोनों की ओर से यानी मास्टर के एच और एम की ओर से आपको गंभीर चेतावनी देते हैं कि फर्म पर भरोसा न करें, उससे सावधान रहे। उसने कसम खाई है कि थियोसॉफिकल सोसाइटी का उसके साथ या तो पतन होगा या विकास होगा। हो सके तो उसे बचाने की कोशिश करें, उसे सत्य और निस्वार्थता में बदलने की पूरी कोशिश करें। यह बहुत अफसोस की बात है कि उसमें जो शक्तियां हैं वह बुराई की दलदल में खो जाए, जिसे उस पर उसके पूर्व शिक्षकों ने प्रत्यारोपित किया। आगे मास्टर सीसी मेसी के बारे में कहते हैं कि निस्संदेह सीसी मेसी ब्रिटिश थियोसॉफिस्टों के बीच एक ईमानदार, सच्चे, अधिक नेक नियत वाले व्यक्ति है। उनका एकमात्र और प्रमुख दोष है उनकी कमजोरी। यदि उन्हें किसी दिन पता चलेगा कि उन्होंने अपने विचारों में एचपीबी के साथ कितनी घोर गलती की है, तब इस बात पर उनसे अधिक दुख महसूस करने वाला दूसरा कोई न होगा। ब्रिटिश थियोसॉफिकल सोसाइटी भंग हो गई और वस्तुतः अब नहीं रही। इस कारण से मैंने सभी व्यवस्थाओं पर रोक लगाई। लेकिन उसमें मैंने यह भी लिखा कि यानी ह्यूम को लिखा था कि अगर उन्होंने उसमें मिसेस के और उनके साथी लेखक जैसे सदस्यों सहित दृढ़ता से पुनः स्थापित वे करते हैं, तब हमें आपके माध्यम से उन्हें सिखाने में कोई आपत्ति नहीं होगी। मैंने निश्चित ही अपने पत्रों को कुछ गिने चुने मेंबर्स के लिए प्रिंट करके प्रसारित करने पर आपत्ति जताई, जिनका हमारे अस्तित्व पर विश्वास नहीं है। हम निष्ठावान, ईमानदार और सीखने की लगन रखने वाले उत्साही लोगों को सहयोग करने से कभी इनकार नहीं करेंगे। जिस तरह ह्यूम ने हमारे तत्वज्ञान को प्रतिपादित किया है, उसे मैं प्रकाशन करने में आशंकित हूँ। उनका कहना है कि जब तक हम लोगों को यह नहीं बताते कि स्वर्ग में प्रेममयी पिता और सभी का सृजन करता है, हमारे तत्वज्ञान को खारिज किया जाएगा। उन जैसे मूर्ख हमारे सिद्धांतों के बारे में जितना कम सुनेंगे, दोनों के लिए उतना ही बेहतर होगा। यदि वे संपूर्ण सत्य और सत्य के अलावा कुछ नहीं चाहते, तो उनका स्वागत है। लेकिन वे हमें किसी भी तरह से आम लोगों के पूर्वाग्रह के साथ समझौता करने में या राजी होने में नहीं पाएंगे। मास्टर कहते हैं कि ज्ञान के उच्चतम अर्थ को पाश्चात्य लोग शायद ही समझ पाए हैं। उनके लिए ज्ञानी होने का मतलब यह है कि जो अपने जीवन के उपक्रमों को बड़ी चतुराई से संचालित कर सकता है, ताकि वह अधिक मात्रा में भौतिक लाभ, सम्मान या धन प्राप्त कर सके। ज्ञान की गुणवत्ता फिफ्थ रूट रेस के पास सदा ही थी और रहेगी, लेकिन जो भी इस ज्ञान की संपत्ति को खुद के खातिर ही अर्जित करना चाहता है, खुद की संतुष्टि के लिए अर्जित करना चाहता है और कोई दूसरा उद्देश्य न रखकर सिर्फ अपने भौतिक लाभों की प्राप्ति हेतु उपयोग में लाएगा, वह इस ज्ञान से वंचित होगा। थैंक यू। नमस्ते।
Thank you, Meenakshi ji, for giving us this translation in Hindi. And now I will request if anybody would like to share their thoughts. So they may please unmute and speak. Shikhar ji would like to mention something about these letters.
If nobody is, I don't know if anytime anybody can raise their hands to say, but while people are still thinking, really, as you said, no, how sometimes the things, and I think it keeps happening. If we look around in our lodges and centers, also sometimes uh, we come across people, or sometimes somebody comes, and due to somebody's presence, sometimes the harmony is disturbed or something. So I think also we should, maybe that is why I now remember that earlier and even now, before accepting somebody as a member, the person is suggested to, to attend the meetings and a couple of meetings, how and in some interaction with that person. So at least to the best possible way, try to know that the approach of the person. Of course, people may have disagreements, but if the fundamental understanding of universal brotherhood is there, then the things can be worked out. So this interpersonal relations, and of course, the very important thing that we cannot ask for more like letters or teachings or communications from the masters until we have assimilated and digested and basically we start living the things that have already been given. So that is one of the most important thing I feel, that when secret doctrine was given, it was said it was given for the next 100 years, but 100 years for the basically for people to come to terms to it. But how much time we will take to really understand it and live it is, I think, depends on us. So
Yes, very nice. Thank you, Shikharji. What you mentioned is it's clearly given in this letter. I want to just read that line. It says that a great tidal wave of mysticism that is now sweeping over a portion of the intellectual classes of Europe. And the Western people have as yet not learned to recognize that what is termed as wisdom by the masters. So this is clearly indicating that in nature there are these cycles, the ascending cycle and the descending cycle. HPP mentions it elsewhere also. She mentioned it in terms of, I think, the cycle of the moons, the waxing phase of the moon and the waning phase of the moon. So there are times which nature itself will aid you to gain and to progress. So if you make an effort during those times, you will easily be able to attain that height. And that is what masters were trying by giving out this knowledge to the people, especially the British Theosophical Society, the Western people over there. But then he cites that many of them could not grasp that wisdom, and it is like, spreading your pearls before someone who is not deserving. So yes, we should make use of the times, the natural phases of the cycle when we are easily able to progress and move ahead.
yeah,
So
that's a
thank you.
very important point that you pointed out. Thank you, Vivaji.
Thank you. Thank you, Shikharji. And anybody, Shindeji, would you like to mention something?
No, this letter itself points out
Yes.
the whole Theosophical Society was not founded
Mm.
for the satisfaction of individuals. It is not founded to the satisfaction of individuals. Am I audible?
Yes. Yes, sir.
But it was fundamentally is an instrument through which world can be given what it needs. That is divine wisdom. So whole letter is concentrated and it is taught to the human in this way. That's what I think. That is important. We have to remember. Thank you for that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, Shikharji, I think we'll continue these letters in the next two more sessions. Right.
Yeah, I think yeah, 2 more sessions will be enough, most likely.
Okay. And if there are no more points of discussion, then we can bring our session to a close. Pradeepji, is that okay?
Yes, kindly close.
Okay, sir. So we'll close the session with our closing prayer. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Sarvesham Swastirabhavatu Sarvesham Shantirabhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति 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 Namaste. Thank you all for joining.
Namaste. Namaste. Thank you, Vibhaji. Thank you, Pradeep ji. Thank you, everyone.